Well, this is our raised bed garden. The first one we had built 2 years ago. Seems to be doing pretty well. We've got leeks, cherry tomatoes, and some kind of sad looking cucumbers down there. It didn't work very well with the cucumbers. Got some peppers that are filled with fruit. And over here on the ground in the raised bed garden, we have some peppers. We pulled out most of the onions. The rest of the onions did very well. We're going to plant some Swiss chard and spinach in there, transplant. There's the chives over in the corner. And I've just planted some beans at the trellis here. They haven't come up yet. Back there are our strawberries in the strawberry cascade. We did very nicely with them this year. And over here we have red cabbage that was planted back about 4 weeks ago. It's starting to form heads. And over on the other end of that raised bed garden we have sweet potatoes, which we bought from a place in Georgia and didn't get them here until about the first week of June. We were gone for a couple of days, and the sweet potatoes sat at the post office getting dehydrated. Over here we have our new raised bed garden, and the raised bed garden here was planted with 2 rows of beets and carrots. And a curious possum got in there and started digging around and rooted up a lot of the stuff that came up. So we're going to fill this one up with some Swiss chard and some spinach. Over at the front of the raised bed garden here, we have tomatoes and some Swiss chard from last year, and I left the Swiss chard in the ground. It has bloomed and is now going to give us some seed. We've got a couple of herbs in there, and the one down at the very bottom here is a broadleafed oregano, very strong. The tomatoes are doing reasonably well. We've got them tied up. And back here is some bamboo, which is beginning to take over our whole yard. There are my rain barrels. I fill the rain barrels up with rainwater pumped from the house. And I was just looking down here at a cord, and I thought for a minute that we had a black snake in the yard again, but it isn't. It's the electrical cord for the sump pump. Over on this wall I rejuvenated an old Cascade Garden and split it and turned it into a strawberry cascade, and we planted some strawberries in there this spring. From seed we got, or from plants we got from California. And this is our side yard next to the greenhouse with the lilies in bloom and our zinnia bed. We remodeled our gazebo, and the gazebo has a square flower box which has one of our veggie bags in it. Those work out pretty well. As you can see on the bottom of the box there's a little drain opening where the surplus water flows out. And over here as you come through the garden we have a trellis with 2 of our garden boxes. These are 14 by 28 inch boxes, and the flowers have done very, very well in there. A bucket of water every week, and that's all you need. Next to the trellis is a contraption I put together a few years ago, and that's got petunias. We thought they were wave petunias, but they're not, so they're not doing any waving. We planted them in bags, our veggie tubes, and filled that with potting soil. And it takes a fair amount of water, but they seem to be doing reasonably well. Up on the edge of our deck, I've got what I called our barrel bags, because I didn't visualize them hanging on a wall. And our new vertical wall garden will take those barrel bags and hang five of them, excuse me, in a 48-inch unit, and that we're working on this week. We'll have that finished probably by the end of the week. This unit is our 10-foot Cascade Garden, and it's just filled with herbs. Down on the bottom we have French tarragon, then sage, then we have a basil. Next to that is a Thai basil. The next one is Monarda bee balm. There's a sweet marjoram next to it, and the Cuban oregano, and at the end is the broadleaf oregano, and peeking out from behind that is a dill plant that got squeezed over. Up on the next row we have curly parsley, more of the basil. We trimmed out a lot of it to take to a vegan lunch in Columbus. And then over at the very end of that row in the Cascade is a curry plant. It's doing very nicely now that it's got acclimatized. Above that is regular parsley, and then above that is a broadleaf oregano. Down through that section we have a Greek oregano and an ordinary regular oregano. Then there's the broadleaf and a basil over in the corner with Thai basil. Did I say Thai oregano? It's Thai basil. And above that we have a row of tomatoes. And those tomatoes, I thought that I had to tie them up, but I could have just let them lie over the edge of the cascade and do their thing. There's our rain barrel. The downspout from the gutter system dumps right into the rain barrel. And when we don't have rain, which is what we've had this past month, we're filling it up from the well. And you can see the sweet potatoes up there on top did very nicely. Our beans are a little wilted today because of the heat. It's a very dry, hot day, about 90, 91 degrees I think right now. Over here we planted, in this little difficult spot, we used our veggie tubes and planted petunias, and they've done very nicely in there. We've got next to that a square veggie box, and everything needs a little water, so we'll bring that up to snuff with just a little water. Over here is our Echo salad box, and the crossbar supports the clear plastic cover. As you can see at the back, there are two 48-inch light tubes that will go in there. They'll be grow lights, and that will keep that basket that box growing all winter. Over here against this wall we have a straight veggie bag with casters, and instead of having a topsy-turvy tomato, we got a turvy-topsy tomato. It grows straight up as God intended, and there it is. Next to it is a bean bag, and it's not one that you sit in, it's just a straight unit exactly like the 14-inch cube that you see next to it with the tomato in it, only it's 14 by 24. Over here we planted in a revised, remodeled grow cell. We took cut it apart and made it into a two-chamber unit and planted zinnias in it. They're doing very nicely. Over here on the other side is the our small 24-inch herb garden, and it's filled up with oregano, and up on top are some tomatoes. Next to it is our little easy grow patio garden, and we reaped all the lettuce from it, and so I've got some Swiss chard in there, 2 types of Swiss chard, and we planted zucchini, a couple zucchini plants in there, which will probably take over but keep us full of zucchini for the next little while. Next to that is a 12 by 24 rectangular planter box in which we put tomatoes. We had planted originally 3 or 4 lettuce plants in there, and we ate them very happily. Very good lettuce, and you can see this little plant is just full of tomatoes. On the other end of that box we planted fennel, and you can see it sticking out there. Fennel is an herb that people may enjoy or may not. This is a little shot of the garden and the gazebo. We're unfortunately have a beautiful wisteria that has never ever bloomed, and we're going to change that by giving it something horizontal to grow on. Down here are some of our cuttings. We propagate by making cuttings of the herbs, and the basil, all types of basil do very well with this propagation method, as does the oregano. We got some bad seed, and our plug trays didn't do very well down there. Now up here we've got a box filled with gladiolus, and 2 of them are starting to reward us with a little bit of flower. But those, when they do grow, will be very nice. Here's what I'm talking about with the hangover tomatoes. When we do this on our commercial units, we'll use a red plastic apron on the back side, and the tomatoes will come over the top, recline on the red plastic, and for some reason the wavelength of light from the red plastic encourages the tomatoes to ripen. And that's it. How do you shut it off?
Button by your other thumb.
This one?
Not that one.